We have the ARK Ascended Q&A with Cryopods, cross-platform, movement speed, breeding changes, wild baby taming, and survival of the fittest, along with the Shastasaurus reveal, and is ARK 2 up for an award? Hello survivors, I'm GP bringing you all the latest ARK news. We got a pretty lengthy community crunch this week with plenty of new information along with a lot of previous details confirmed to still be coming to the game. One of the things many people had been hoping for this week was the Q&A relating to ARK Ascended, and it's time to go through what was revealed because it was ram-packed. Now, they started off with giving a mention as to why they are doing ARK Survival Ascended, and although they mentioned previously in the roadmap that it is an opportunity for them to develop their skills in UE5 and to help with their development on ARK 2, and that ARK 2 is going to be a very different game that not all survivors will necessarily like, they did openly admit that they needed to continue generating revenue due to ARK Survival Evolved no longer producing any new content. I think that was pretty obvious to everyone anyway, but it's good to see them being open and honest about it. Now, before I forget, because I know I will, wild baby taming has been revealed. This wasn't in the Q&A, but it was mentioned on the Discord after the Q&A dropped. We've all wondered, how will the wild baby spawning work? Well, according to Jat, you've got to defeat the parents in battle. That's right, they aren't a passive tame, there's an actual mechanic to it. However, Jat went on to further state that not all creatures will have wild babies, so it's likely things like Gigas probably won't have them. Anyway, back on track with the Q&A. They started off with a bit of a recap on what is to come, but I do believe there are a few new bits in here that weren't listed in the previous roadmaps, such as the confirmation of the Fluid Ninja integration, which we saw in the mod reveal last week, and this is in relation to dynamic water, but hopefully it's used for more than just the water. Total UI revamp. That's right, the user interface is getting a complete upgrade. This will be the second time the UI has been overhauled. And a new Dino Manager system where you can view the real-time status and track locations of all your creatures at will through one unified menu. This is something I am very interested in seeing, because how many of you have logged in and suddenly lost creatures with no idea where they've gone? This could very well be the answer to that, but will this make the transponder in-game obsolete, I wonder? And now on to the frequently asked questions. Will there be a pre-order? Well, as I confirmed recently, there will be no pre-orders and therefore no preloading. This does unfortunately put those with slower internet speeds at a disadvantage, particularly for official servers. But usually there isn't pre-orders for early access games on Steam anyway, so I think this is probably to be expected. How will crossplay work? This one was pretty interesting because there's going to be 3 phases for crossplay during the early access stage. The first phase at launch will see crossplay for Xbox, PlayStation and Windows 10, but will not be available for Steam. This is because they will be expecting to patch the game a lot with fixes and such, as it's going to be in early access, that they will want to patch quicker on the Steam platform. Jat did state over on the Discord that they have to re-earn rapid certification on consoles again, which they had for ARK Survival Evolved. And as this is a new product, this is why Steam cross-platform is being held back until they gain that rapid cert process on consoles once again. They did also mention that they do intend to host some servers that are crossplay between Xbox and PlayStation only. So when Steam crossplay does arrive, official players will have the choice of what type of crossplay server they want to play on. And I'm sure this is going to be good news to many players. Phase 2 expected around December, possibly aimed to coincide with the Scorched Earth release. We'll see Steam added to crossplay, and that patching from that point onwards will be done simultaneously as mentioned earlier. We'll see, wildcard, we'll see. And Phase 3, expected sometime in 2024, will be cross progression. This is where you can play on your account on one platform and switch to a different platform to continue playing on the same account. Server performance. They've increased the stasis replication range for structures and dinos by about 70%, which is pretty big, which means that they will remain in render for a lot longer until you are much further away. And with all the changes they've been making, they've decided to keep server slots at 70 for the launch, with the possibility of raising it later on once they've been able to assess the performance in early access. Cryopods, a massive question. Cryopods will not be in ASA at release. It has finally been confirmed. This was a question that was always going to please some and disappoint others, whichever way the answer went. It's literally a question that can't please all. They are sticking to the plan of releasing content with the DLCs they originally came with, even though Cryopods did eventually become part of the base game. This also goes for tech variant creatures. These won't be introduced at the start. They didn't really go into any real detail on the cave changes, only that they've done some balance adjustments to choke points and improved the internal appearance. And whilst they didn't do any major overhaul with caves, they believe there should be some shift in the meta that players create. Another massive one. They've disabled leveling speed on all creatures and players on the official network. This is huge. This means the things that put sides apart in battle comes down more to what creatures are used and how they've been bred. This is a major nerf on speed, something that we saw previously with the flyers. Of course, unofficial servers can change this via the config, and presumably the same goes for single player. Breeding changes. Yes, they have done some tweaks. They've tried to make the implementation of breeding cleaner, and whereas in ARK Survival Evolved mutations were based on a creature's wild stat multiplier, they've now given the breeders the multiplier, or at least that's what I think they've said here. I kind of feel it's a little ambiguous the way it's written. But this will result in some buffs and nerfs in stats, and they are going to monitor this during the early access stage. Character creation has been updated, but it's still going to resemble what it was like in ARK Survival Evolved, where you can change all of the scalars and everything else, but we are yet to see how detailed the characters will look. So don't worry, you can still make your misshapen characters. There's new Gareth Coker music. We got some of it in the crunch. Who thought this might have been a trailer when they first saw it and then found themselves rickrolled? I'm sure some did, but give it a listen, it is awesome music. There wasn't really much on DLSS and all of that stuff, just that they are working very closely with Nvidia on all of those things. They confirmed that ARK Ascended will be launching in Unreal Engine 5.2, but they will be incorporating bits of 5.3 such as nav mesh improvements and landscapes, with an aim to continue upgrading to 5.3 and beyond during early access, which is fantastic to hear. Gameplay when? That's right, a pretty big question that still doesn't have an answer. They've said that the gameplay trailer and screenshots will be released before we can purchase the game, most likely very close to launch. And earlier in the crunch, they have said near the end of October. I'm still betting personally on Thursday the 26th of October for the release of ASA. There wasn't really anything about anti-cheat given here. They haven't confirmed what anti-cheat platform they are using yet, but they didn't really reveal anything because it wouldn't benefit the game if they did. The Survival of the Fittest is having its name reverted to not having the in it anymore, and will not be coming at launch, but they are looking to hopefully release it in the winter as an in-game downloadable mod. There won't be a queue system at launch. This has been a question that's popped up quite recently. They are still actually weighing up whether it is worth implementing it for the base game or not, as they will be having it in Survival of the Fittest once that releases. Extra Life has been confirmed along with the bonus rate boosts that they do for donations. This is pretty big because the official servers are going to be pretty fresh with like a week or two when this happens. Also, Winter Wonderland will be the very first content related event, which is awesome. I'm so pleased they will be doing these events so early into the game's development. It's just a shame we've missed the opportunity for Fear Evolved. Creature submissions and votes have been put on hold for a while due to several reasons, such as voter fatigue and the fact that the devs want to see if the meta might establish the need for different types of creatures, and therefore this could change what creatures the players prefer to submit and vote for in the future. And we have finally seen the Shastasaurus dossier along with a drawing of its saddle, and it looks so good. They've kept the design fairly similar to the submission, and I look forward to finding out the full mechanics of this creature and the submarine. So much new info was given regarding ARK Survival Ascended, a lot of questions answered, but still no release date, gameplay or screenshots so far. And ARK 2 is nominated for an award at the 41st Golden Joystick Awards. It is very odd for it to be nominated, but it is under the Most Wanted Game category. But it has a lot of competition as there are many titles nominated for that category, and well, as we all know, we know very little about ARK 2, so I'd be surprised if it has any shot at winning. Survivors, there was so much to cover today. I'll be sure to reflect on it more and see what is said in the coming days to make sure I've covered everything available for you. Until next time, survivors, make sure to subscribe to keep up with all the latest ARK news.